The trend of pornography has increased significantly and it has become a major issue for us. However, there is no difference in age or gender among those who watch pornography. How does pornography capture our minds? How does it change our normal sexuality and normal sexual behavior? In today's video, we will talk about this. Greetings. Along with being a major issue, sex had a rapist relationship. Viewers, as I just mentioned, the trend of watching pornography, that is obscene films, has increased a lot and it has absolutely no connection with age or gender. We see that people of every age group watch pornographic films, and every gender, men, women, and transgender people are involved in this. Some are less involved, some are more, but everyone in some way or another has been affected by it to some extent. How does pornography actually affect our minds? And how do our normal behaviors also start moving away from normality? Because of this, the happiness and peace we should get from our married life and marital relationships completely disappears. We will talk about this today. Viewers, the more you watch anything, when you watch something a lot and get very involved in it, you store it somewhere in your mind and then you try to practice it. When some people watch too much of it, the same kind of images and activities keep running through their minds, the very things they've seen in those films. Those scenes start playing out in their minds, and gradually, with their own partner, their normal sexual behavior no longer brings them satisfaction or peace. Instead, they expect to do with their partner exactly what they've seen in those films, and as they keep trying to practice those things, they end up losing the real connection they have with their partner somewhere along the way. The second harm of watching it is that people usually become addicted to it. When you start exploring something and you don't set any boundaries for yourself, you don't put any restrictions on yourself, then there are no limits to it. You can take it as far as you want. You can explore it to any extent. Pornography is one of those things that has no limits. You might start with a simple film and then you begin to watch different genres, get involved in different types of films, and then you start going further and further. This turns into an addiction, which becomes a problem. Sometimes, because of this addiction, you can't even have a normal relationship with your partner, your husband or wife, without watching these videos, and you don't enjoy it either. The addiction gets to the point where you don't feel excited with your partner unless you watch it together, and you don't enjoy it. Your excitement becomes tied to it. The third thing, which is seen a lot in people, is that those who watch a lot of pornography and are very addicted to it, their sexual desire starts to decrease. Gradually, their interest in this area completely fades away. In other words, it badly affects your normal sexual desire and reduces it significantly. The fourth side effect of pornography is that usually, whatever you have seen in pornography, you try to do the same thing with your partner. When you try to do that, your partner doesn't have that exposure, your spouse hasn't seen those videos, and maybe that's not their preference, or maybe the way you want to be intimate isn't attractive to them, or they don't want to do it that way. Usually this causes a lot of disruption between partners and fights become very frequent. When fights become too frequent, sometimes when you try to have a relationship and try to do those specific things you've seen in porn, your partner may feel dissatisfied, uncomfortable, or dislike it, so they don't even want to be intimate with you, or they develop an aversion to it. This is because there's a lot of artificiality in it. Another thing that usually happens because of watching pornography is that people start to believe that whatever they see in the videos, time, size, methods, whatever, they start to think that's reality. When they start to believe that's reality, they try to compare themselves to what they see in the videos. In other words, they compare themselves to the videos, whereas in reality, these videos are filmed after doing the same thing 100 times or who knows how many times over and over again. And then the film that you see, normally, whatever we see in it, there is a lot of use of medicines involved. Things are definitely repeated again and again, and the entire film is augmented. In fact, it's called a film because it's created and it's very far from reality. When you try to compare yourself with that, you automatically end up feeling the lowest. And even though you are normal, you start to think that you don't fit the definition of normal, or that your circumstances aren't like those of other people, or like what you see in films. In films, there's a lot more time. People use different methods. People have a lot more stamina. All these things start to become so overwhelming that you begin to undermine your own normalcy and your own performance. Then you start to feel dissatisfied with your time, your relationship with your partner, your satisfaction, the quality of your erection. Everything starts to seem lacking. You end up making that your benchmark. The biggest harm caused by watching pornography is to human behavior and the human mind. Actually, what happens is that your normal sexual behavior changes completely. It has a very negative effect on that. For example, the way you used to naturally express your love and affection to your partner, engage in foreplay, and try to do things together. That completely changes because of watching pornography, since you start copying what you see there. And when you try to bring those things into your life by copying someone else, the real things you have, the genuine connection you have with your partner, somehow that connection starts to deteriorate. Yes, with your partner, with your love, with your own preferences, and with your partner's consent, you can try and explore many things where your partner agrees, where they happily participate with you. Those different things are possible. These are things that can improve your relationship. But we should definitely try not to watch pornography, whether it's women, men, children, the elderly, boys or girls, whoever is caught up in this kind of addiction. Please keep in mind that you are distancing yourself from normality. And if you have already developed an addiction to it, that addiction can take you very far, to a place from which sometimes it becomes very difficult to return. And then, if any of you, anyone at all, feels that you are experiencing any of the things I have just identified for you, if you feel you have become a victim of this, then you need to seek help from a professional to get yourself out of this illness, out of this trap, and move towards your normal sexuality. Try to experience normal things again. As I said, pleasure decreases, people's interest diminishes, their relationship with their partner starts to deteriorate, and addiction develops. These are all problems that arise because of pornography, and it becomes very important to address them at that point. I hope that today's video will help you so that by observing your own behavior, you can keep yourself away from pornography. We'll meet again in a new video with a new topic. Until then, take care.